I would like to start by saying that although my friends across the aisle have accused the majority of a partisan witch hunt, such accusations are completely unfounded. The common adage is, facts are stubborn things. I contend that all one must do is to reflect on the facts, to know that this investigation is about asserting what happened. So let's analyze the facts. We know that Lois Lerner has a history of favoring liberal groups over conservative groups, a bias. There were multiple instances during her tenure at the Federal Elections Commission that show that, and I'd like to place into the record an article outlining such of these instances.
Without objection, so ordered.
We have documents and emails from Lois Lerner with phrases like, I'm really thinking we need to do a C4 project next year, and we need to have a plan. We need to be cautious so it isn't per se a political project. We know that Ms. Lerner sent official IRS emails to her unofficial email account, which is a violation of IRS rules. We also know that she may have broken Federal law by disclosing sensitive tax return information. We know that she was heavily involved in the orchestration and disclosure of the information to the public about inappropriate tactics used by the IRS. She wanted to avoid litigation, that being disclosure forum, because, as she put it, if it goes to litigation, all details are public, no guessing needed. So it seems Ms. Lerner wished to stay away from litigation in court so as to avoid having all details of these issues from becoming public. These facts lead one to assume that this could be the same motive she used when withholding information from Congress. We also know she lied or misled this committee on numerous accounts. We asked her whether the criteria for evaluating tax-exempt applications had changed at any point. Ms. Lerner responded the criteria had not changed, but it had. In 2012, she told this committee that the information the IRS was requesting in letters to conservative tax-exempt applicants was not out of the ordinary. But on May 13, 2013, that also was refuted. In fact, a 48-year-old veteran of the IRS said he never once had seen such applications go to the Chief Counsel's office. We also know former IRS Acting Commissioner Steve Miller told us that the IRS was under, and I quote, tremendous pressure from Senator Carl Levin to implement new regulations, end quote. So considering all of this, why would this committee cease its efforts to get to the truth? Why should it? Constitutional rights were infringed upon by the government, and it is our job to get the American people answers. So you see, without Ms. Lerner's full cooperation and without immunity, neither this committee nor the American public will have the answers it needs from its government. Now, the Ways and Means Committee has voted to ask the Department of Justice to take Ms. Lerner to court for orchestrating the targeting of these political groups, disclosing taxpayer information, which is a felony, and obstructing these ongoing investigations. So after going over these steps and the facts, I would like to ask my colleagues across the aisle to tell me how it is that you can legitimately argue that we can conclude this investigation. Is it because the President says so? Is it because the ranking member Cummings has said so? How about Attorney General Eric Holder? Is it because there is a piece of evidence out there that totally absolves Ms. Lerner and all officials at the IRS from these wrongdoings? If so, why hasn't the minority shared these documents with the majority so that we may move on to other important oversight matters? If this truly is a waste of time, prove it to us and we can move on. Until then, I recommend my friends across the aisle quit crying foul. But when, not if, but when we get to the bottom of this, I hope there will be no one on the other side of the dais who will be determined to have obstructed the pursuit of justice. I would like to close by saying that I personally find no pleasure in today's proceedings. I do not find pleasure in holding Attorney General Eric Holder in contempt. I do not enjoy holding any Federal official in contempt of pursuing criminal charges. Doing so means we have a government run amok, and such a situation is a lose-lose situation for all citizens, regardless of political beliefs. As uncomfortable as it may be, it is our job to proceed. Actions have consequences. I am simply a firm believer in the rule of law and the responsibility of Congress, and specifically this Oversight Committee, to ensure that the Federal Government operates in a manner that the public sees fit. Our government, in this case the IRS and the Justice Department, are in a sad state of affairs. This should be a turning point to restore justice and accountability, both in the person and in the government institutions. Institutions granted authority by the people to serve and protect people, not abuse them. I support the Chairman in his pursuit of justice and accountable government, and I will support the resolution holding Ms. Lerner in contempt. And with that, I yield back.